A few years ago, Enfield High School had Eagle Hour, an hour set aside for students to get extra help from teachers, do homework, hang out with people, etc. However, the time has been cut in half and is now being pushed to only 3 days a week. And yeah, they're adding 5 extra minutes to the 3 days, but that's not okay. This is unacceptable. Students depend on Eagle Block for a multitude of reasons. Enfield Public Schools is in the lower 50% of both academics and socioeconomics. Many students depend solely on buses for transportation, so don't have the option to stay after hours and receive help. Also, the lower performance of academics proves the need for this extra help. A lot of kids do sports and as a result have very tight schedules. They need Eagle Block. Every single person needs breaks. The teachers get free periods, so why shouldn't we? Only 30 minutes a day is what we ask, and it's not just a break. We use this time productively. Towards the end of last year, we saw what it was like to have Eagle Block at most 3 times a week. It was terrible. Both academically and mentally, a huge chunk of the student body suffered. Grades dropped, and so did overall happiness with the school. I am aware that the board does not concern themselves with the daily life of individual schools, but this is not a small issue. I created a petition and within a week gained 255 signatures. Literally hundreds of students are telling you that they need this time, non-negotiable. And it's not a big ask. We're not trying to change long-held policies or anything. We're trying to make school manageable. We need Eagle Block at least 4 days a week, if not 5. We need it. I emailed admin a few times about the issue, but received repetitive answers, which basically said, sorry, but we're not doing anything. And I understand that some kids abuse this time and that there are staffing shortages. I do sympathize. But when literally hundreds of individuals are telling you they need help, you find a way. And I don't just come here to complain, I have a solution to propose. I briefly outlined it to the principal, but she did not address it. The issue is, in the eyes of admin, that there's not enough teachers to support this time. But there's enough teachers for the other classes, so there's enough for Eagle Block. There may not be enough for how Eagle Block was run in the past, but with a few edits, it should be no problem. I propose that you set aside a select few teachers on scheduled days to run overflow students in the auditorium or cafeteria, since that is where the overflow goes for regular classes, and you rotate through the teachers for overflow duty so that everyone can get help and it is a predictable schedule. There is no reason that this many kids should be needlessly suffering when a realistic solution is perfectly in reach. And if again our pleas for change are ignored, then just know that it would be a direct contradiction of the school's motto for giving us voices. We need Eagle Block for so many reasons, it cannot be taken away. This is a copy of the signatures, the mission statement for the petition, and student testimonies left on the petition or messaged to me to remain anonymous. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have heard her over the past year when there was cancellations of Eagle Block and the impact it had on her and other kids talking. And the petition that she just handed you, Mr. Drezick, the amount of children in the high school that did not sign it because they didn't think, why bother? They had they feel so disenfranchised and they're apathetic at this point. You know, admin's going to admin. You can't change anything. That's really sad. Kids this age normally have this go-get-it in them that the world is changeable. But the things that I heard and read from the various social media, these kids get apathetic and they feel like, why bother? And that's not what we want our kids to feel like. We want them to feel like they can be change agents in the world. Like for instance, she uses Eagle Block. Sometimes she'll arrange with a teacher where she can have several friends come in, that same thing, and she's tutoring them. And it's low-key, and it allows the kids to ask questions in a way that they don't feel like, and she checks with the subject teacher to make sure that she's got the right idea when she's tutoring them, and she's helping people. And that's what we want to encourage in the kids. So, enough of that. One thing that I think needs to be addressed is that admin can become very defensive when you point out what you see as failings. I'm talking about high school here. When one of my children had an incident that was impacted by bias and made because of previous experiences of bias in this school, made the reaction out of proportion to what was happening. And I pointed that out to the admin that we were meeting with, and they were noticeably bothered by that and took offense to it. Now, I was not telling them they were racist or anything like that. I was saying when you have a bias situation, when there is bias and racism in the school, and there is, I don't think anyone can deny that it does exist, it impacts kids of color in a way that it doesn't impact white people. And if you've not experienced it growing up or in your life or seen it happen to others, you don't understand it, you don't pick up on it, and it doesn't mean that you're not trying to improve yourself, trying to do better. I mean, as a parent, when my kids look at me and go, "Mom, you just don't get it." Yeah, I don't like hearing that, but sometimes I do just don't get it. If you're not willing to be told what you don't get, then you can't see what needs to be changed. You can't address or change issues if you're not willing to see them. They really need to cast a broader net when they're looking for kids to take part in various things. Like the two girls who were student members, they did a great job. Why don't we change them up every quarter and pull out other kids? Try and bring forth more voices to the table. I know you, Chris, I know you have a student advisory thing. Work to pull out kids that aren't the ones who are always stepping forward. And I know it's hard to do because, like I said, there's sadly a feeling of these kids being disenfranchised and they don't want to listen to me anyway. So I've raised my voice before and it didn't do a dang thing, and they're just like, I want to get through it. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but the student governance things and anything that you are looking for input from the kids, they've got to do more work to welcome the input of a larger variety of the student body, listen to the input, and step out of their comfort zones. Because it's hard to be told where you're missing things when you know that you are working hard to do the best you can for the teachers, for the kids. I believe that the admin and the teachers are working hard and are trying to do their best, but they're missing the target in a lot of areas. And when I saw that, like I said, when I saw the commentary that she was getting, it's just like, oh, this is not cool. There's a large number of kids who just don't feel seen, and that's not what we want. That's not what the mission statement and everything about the district is. So it's an area we need to step it up. Thank you.